I think when Pharaoh asks the question, "Who is the Lord?" he intends it rhetorically. But you have to be careful who you ask a rhetorical question to. Some people will answer the question anyway, and God does answer Pharaoh's question. This is the part most of us remember from Sunday school. Pharaoh hardens his heart towards both God and the Israelites, and he sets in. He will not be letting the Israelites go. God directs Moses and Aaron to the banks of the Nile, where they find Pharaoh preparing to go for a cruise. And through Moses and Aaron, God turns the Nile into blood, along with all the other water in Egypt. And Pharaoh resists. Then God brings a plague of frogs that fill the entire nation of Egypt, and when the frogs die, they are gathered into heaps and rot and stink. Still Pharaoh resists. Then a plague of gnats or lice from the dust of the earth, swarming humans, animals, and everything else, and still Pharaoh resists. God sends flies and insects, filling the entire nation with pestilence, and Pharaoh still resists. Then God afflicts the horses, donkeys, camels, herds, and flocks of the Egyptians, while protecting the animals of the Israelites. And Pharaoh resists. In the face of the livestock being unvalued, God sends a plague of boils on the Egyptians, and the people writhe in pain, but again Pharaoh resists. The seventh plague comes. Fire, hail, lightning, and destruction from the skies strikes everything outdoors in Egypt, laying waste most of what remains of the agriculture, and Pharaoh resists. God sends locusts to devour the now downed crops and trees and everything else in their path. And while Pharaoh pleads for forgiveness and promises repentance, as the plague is lifted, Pharaoh resists. And then God sends the ninth plague, a darkness that spreads across the whole land, affecting every Egyptian, but not the Israelites. And in darkness, Pharaoh promises, but in the light, Pharaoh resists. 9 plagues pass, and each time Pharaoh resists after conceding that the Lord has bested him, his magicians, and the gods of Egypt. If you go through the chapters that contain these passages, you may find yourself asking who these magicians are. What are they in this story? They are the priests of the gods of Egypt. They represent the powers that the Egyptian people worship. They represent the faith of Pharaoh. When Pharaoh asks, "Who is the Lord?" it's a statement more than anything else. He's telling Moses, "I don't recognize the authority of your God. I've got gods of my own. They will protect me. Who is your God in the face of my gods?" And the plagues are the dismantling of the confidence of the Egyptians in their many gods. The answer which the Lord offers to Pharaoh as he asks, "Who is the Lord?" is simply, "I am. I am the one who created all things. All powers that you may recognize are under me." Last week, as we closed out our week, I pointed out that God tells Moses, "You shall see." God is instructing the Israelites through these plagues about who God is and his place in their understanding of the order of all things. God's instructing Pharaoh on the divine identity, and God is offering us instruction in regards to the same things. But Pharaoh doesn't learn the lessons of these first 9 plagues, and there is still one which remains. I love you, and I pray today that you will find yourself instructed by God's revelation of himself, that you would place your confidence in him and his identity, rather than placing your confidence in things which have no power.